Okay, my name's Aaron, Arnold Sondor Life. I'm doing getting jerky ready to make. I'm getting it marinated today. Took me a long time to find a recipe I liked. I like this one that I'm going to use. I've been using it now for about 2 years. A lot of the recipes I've found, they have a lot of soy or teriyaki or whatever in it. I just omit that stuff. I just found that no matter how little I used, it was just way too overpowering. But I'm going to show you how I put this together. I use apple cider beer. This is Strongbow. It's not really heavy on the apple, and it's not really heavy on beer, from what I'm told. I don't drink anymore, so it's just what I've been told, but the end product turns out great. I'm going to do a double recipe, so I got 2 cans, 2 16-ounce cans. And then I'm going to add 32 ounces of apple cider vinegar and a half a cup of liquid smoke. If you're going to be using a smoker, you could just omit the liquid smoke or just add less. It really depends on your preference. Then here I got all the spices mixed up together. I've got a 1/4 cup of salt, 1 1/3 cups brown sugar, got right here, 1/4 cup of dry mustard, and then I put a half a cup of my jerky seasoning that I make. You can put whatever seasonings you want in, as long as it's a half a cup for a double batch or a 1/4 cup for a single batch. How I make my jerky spice, it's I got this stuff at Sam's. I put 1 shaker of 6 pepper blend, 1 shaker of garlic pepper blend. Those are both 7.5 ounces. And then I add 8 ounces of table grind black pepper to that as well. So we'll go ahead and add the dry and the brown sugar. Also in there I had, I've got my garlic in there. I put anywhere between 1/4 or half cup, depends on how much I have. And then I just go ahead and mix it up really good. And then once we get this mixed up, we'll add the meat. The meat you're going to want to use, a lean meat. I usually use eye of round. I have used like chuck roast or whatever. I like to pick up whatever's cheapest and then slice it by myself. And then I reserve the fat because I make pemmican as well, so I usually end up throwing my fat scraps in the freezer, and then when I make pemmican, I'll just render it down. But this time, I went to a new meat shop, a lot closer to my house than the one I usually use. And he actually has jerky meat cut up already, already sliced and everything, with everything I've got going on right now. I opted to get that. It is a little bit more expensive per pound. It's probably $2 more a pound than I usually buy or usually pay. But like I said, I got a lot going on right now, so I just opted to get that. So we'll see how it turns out. So I've got this all mixed in, and I'm going to go ahead and grab my meat, get my meat mixed in, and then refrigerate it for at least 12 hours. I like to go 12 to 24. The bowl I have is too big to fit in the fridge, so I got these little white pails I get from work that I'll stick it in. Then tomorrow, I'll just show you the drying process. Alright, hey guys, it's been about 20 hours or so. So I'm going to start drying. I've got my dehydrator running already so it can warm up a bit. You're going to want, when you dry this, what I do is I'll start it at a high temperature until the meat's actually cooked. It's usually about halfway through, so I usually run for about 4 hours, but these are a little thicker, so it's probably going to be more like 5, maybe 6. But after 2 hours, I'll kind of turn it down. start the drying or slow down the drying process a little bit, I find it turns out a lot more tender that way. But here's the pieces. They're real thick. They're going to turn out real nice, I think. I basically just put them on here. You're going to want, you know, some space in between. Usually when I cut it by hand, sometimes they're not as even thickness, which is what you're really looking for. Because otherwise, you know, some will dry faster than others. So after I get it on there, I'll shake my seasoning on there. I didn't grab it yet, so we'll grab it really quick and we'll get it all shaken on there. Alright, so I shake pretty liberally. I like my pepper jerky. Obviously you can shake whatever you want on here, straight pepper if you want, or come up with your own little concoction. And then I go into the dehydrator with it. I'm going to go ahead and finish up all these trays. And then I'll come back after a couple hours and show you what it kind of start looking like. Also, you're going to want to rotate it. I usually rotate it every hour. But like I said, I'll come back and show you what it kind of looks like halfway through, and then what the finished product's going to look like. Well, I got it all in. There's a couple things I forgot to mention. When I load these, you know, obviously there's liquid and stuff that can be falling through the screens. I just line plastic wrap on the counter. It makes cleanup a lot easier. Also, if you're going to make multiple batches, that was about 17 pounds of beef, and I did double batch. Double batch is pretty good for about 20 pounds. Single batch about 10. Also, if you're doing a lot of jerky and you're going to do another round, I'll reserve the marinade liquid. You're going to want to use it, you know, quite pretty quick. You know, it's had beef in it, so it'll spoil. I haven't tried putting it in the freezer and saving it. I gotta go out today and pick up probably about 10 more pounds. So I'll get that in the marinade, and then start another batch probably Sunday night after work. Another thing I kind of noticed about this beef, I'm not quite sure. I'm gonna talk to the guy when I go. It looked like the beef was cut with the grain. Typically, especially if you're going to be cutting it on your own, you want to cut across the grain, because what you're doing is you're cutting across those fibers, and it'll make your meat a lot more tender. That really looked like it was cut with the grain, but it's also a little higher quality meat than I usually use. So we'll see how tender this stuff turns out. With it being so thick, it should be alright. Well, like I said, I'm going to see if he even knows. He might not even know. I don't know if he cut it or if he had one of his employees cut it or what. But that's just another tidbit to know. If you're cutting your own, make sure you can cut across your grain. You can tell the grain, like you'll see little strands in the beef, you know, like fingers, and you want to cross that. It's going to make it a lot more tender, like I said. So we'll see how tender this turns out. But I think that's all I've got now. So we'll see you here in about 2-3 hours. About halfway through the cooking process. Kind of see what it starts looking like. Alright, it's been about 2 hours. You can kind of see how it's getting darker. I haven't rotated it yet. So I'm just going to go ahead and quarter rotate all of these. Then the next hour I'll bring the bottom and the top ones up to the middle, and the middle ones up higher.
Hey guys, I got done real late last night and I forgot to video it. But this is what it looks like, you know, when you want it kind of pliable but dry. What I usually do is when it's close or pretty much done, I'll just turn the dehydrator off and let it sit and dry by itself the rest of the night. Some of this stuff might be a little... No, it's all good, yeah. Like I don't like it rock hard. Sometimes when you're pushing the line between dry and not completely dry, but still okay, it's kind of sounds contradictory, but I usually keep it in the freezer anyway. But even if it's not 100% dry to where it's going to be cracking and breaking, it's still got a shelf life out of refrigeration for like 3 months. That's just the way I like it. It's kind of chewy. It's up to you guys' discretion and play around on the dryness. But that's about it. I'm gonna go pick up some more jerky. I think I'm gonna get some whole muscle meat this time and cut it. So I'm gonna do a whole nother video on how to cut your beef. Well, thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to subscribe and like if you like it. If not, you know, it's alright too. Bye.